Okay, let's get down to business now. Now, we have our key machine. Cleanliness is always important. Grab your brush, wipe it down, keep all your swarf out of the way, keep your jaws tidy. Let's start cutting keys, let's start making money. Okay, so we've got given our set of keys from our customer. Here we are. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my key blank. Once I'm happy and I've found my correct key blank, I simply need to load the customer's key in the left hand side for this particular machine and rotate to the right jaw. Right jaw for a single-sided key is jaw A, and that is because this key, as we said before, is butted up against this bottom ledge right here and held in position. So I put that on jaw A, slide it backwards and forwards and make sure it's all the way down the bottom of the jaw and there is no burrs or no debris in that jaw, and then I'm getting it 100% on the bottom of the jaw. I loosen this duplicate jaw off, rotate it round to the corresponding jaw, which is jaw A, which it'll be on 90% of the time anyway. I put my key blade in there, slide it backwards and forwards, make sure it's level, not on an angle but level, and once I'm happy I just very lightly tighten it down so it now no longer moves. Bring up my shoulder guide, I line up my original key with the shoulder, I then loosen off my duplicate key, slide it backwards and forwards until the base of the key is securely in the jaw, but I'm also corresponding with the shoulder guide here. So both of these keys now are touching that shoulder guide. Okay, first things first, safety goggles. Let's put them on. Okay, now to cut this key in this particular machine, I need to turn the motor on. Other machines they might have a switch on top, but it's all the same principle. You pull the jaw down, I pull the trigger, and as I move past a certain point, it's going to engage the motor. Now, with particular type of key machines, there's two type of cutters you can have. There's two type of cutters. One that can go left and right, or one that you can only start off at the left and continue all the way to the right. With this one here, I can tell I can go left and right because it's a V formation on the cutter. If it was a simple, straight edge with an angle on one side, what that would mean is I would have to start off here, enter the key, move it all the way to the left, and then bring my carriage down and then cut again. So basically the cutters which have a V formation right here can go backwards and forwards. If they've only got if they've got a straight edge on one side, you can only go in the one direction, and that would be to start cutting and then go all the way through and then bring it back and then go back into the cut. So I'm going to simulate cutting with a one directional cutter now, and I'm going to lift up, I'm going to go into the meat of the key, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off about half of it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go deeper and then take the other half off. There's no use lifting it up and plunging straight in there and taking all the meat off. I'm going to take it off bit by bit, and then we're going to go over our grooves. With each key they all have little valleys here, as you can see. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to simulate it just with this brush here, is we're going to go from here, we're going to start, we're going to work our way all the way across and just take that top bit of meat off. Then on our second pass we're going to let it go all the way down and take the rest of the meat off. Once we're happy, we're going to come over it a third time, go right in that groove and basically go over it a few times to make sure that we achieve those heights. Okay, once that's done, we can take our key out and our key will be ready to go. So let's do that. Put my key back in. Now I'm going to simulate if I didn't have a jaw which is in a V formation, proper V, I would only go the one direction. I'm going to simulate that first and then I'll cut it again, showing you what this particular cutter can do because of its angle. So as you can see, the key, I have not got those grooves on that key yet. I've only taken off the first pass. Now when it comes to pushing into the key, you don't need to push into the key with a lot of machines. They've actually spring loaded. This one's spring loaded. So as I push up, this carriage will actually push it in as much as it needs to be. You're basically just holding the carriage. I'll show you. That is why it's a more expensive machine. That's why it's a semi-automatic machine. If you get one that doesn't have the semi-automatic feature, it's no big deal. That means that when you lift up, you need to push into the key, not heavy, just very lightly. You push into the key very lightly until you remove all the meat, and you can't hear it cutting no more. Let's hear what the difference between cutting and not cutting sounds like. This is not cutting. Okay, this is cutting. Big difference in the sound. So you can tell when all that meat has been removed, you'll hear that sound, which is a lot lighter and just the motor, as we're compared where there's still meat on the key and it's still actually taking meat away from the key. So now that I've started on this key and I've done the first pass, let's go back and let's finish it off. Start at the left on this machine and bring it through. All the way down to the end, bring it back across, start at the shoulder and bring it over again. Now, if that was a standard cutter that I could only go one direction, that's what it would be. Now, because this machine has more of a V cutter, I can go backwards a little bit. So let me show you that. If I go in, I can move my jaws backwards, forwards, so I can really get into those valleys and make sure that meat's off. Listening by sound, and it's done. So it doesn't matter how many more times I run over this, I'm not going to get more sound out of this machine because the meat has been taken off. That's it. That key is cut. Now, you don't want to push too hard, and even if I was to try and push hard, I'm not getting any sound. You're really just holding it there firm. There's no need to put upwards pressure that much into the key. Enough to have it where you're going to get the guide right into the valley, but other than that, not that much at all. So that's cutting a single-sided key. Very straightforward, very easy. Let's cut a double-sided key.